running out of time, cause I can see the sun light up the sky. So I hit the road and overdrive. Baby, I'm going through withdrawals. You don't even have to do too much. You can turn me on with just a touch, baby.
Why couldn't it be one of those happy reactions? Mark's starting early. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to us dissecting this result today. Standing room only in the chat. I think everyone decided, yeah, let's get out here. I have enough of this. Let's move on. Let's forget about this. But how is everybody? First of all, Mark, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. Yeah, puts a downer on you Saturday, really, doesn't it? But yeah, look, I'm sure we'll dissect it. But yeah, I know you boys are all feeling the same as me, a little bit deflated. But listen, onwards and upwards. I think, as I said, put in our chat today, we've only lost 4 times. We're sat in 3rd and 7 games to go. It's in our own hands, boys.
Pete, you didn't go anywhere today, did you?
Well, only up the road to what's that shower shite, but yeah, I'm sure we'll.
You're at the Stadium of Light.
Oh no, it's not that much. It's not that much.
It's not that shit.
Yeah, it's not got that much shite in it. But, it's got a fair bit. I've got to be honest. I nearly stood in some as well, which I would have been raging if that would have just tipped off the day. If that happened. Anyway,
the keys. How are the keys?
The keys were tightly strapped into my pocket, zipped in tightly. I kind of wish they weren't. Maybe because they were locked away. That is the reason why we got so badly. But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Superstition. We'll lose the keys and we win. Right, and I saw Pete that you bumped into a friend of the channel as well. You bumped into Carl. So nice to see Carl. As Pete is frozen. Let's move to you, Chris. How are you? Any winners?
Yeah, I have a few winners. Didn't win the national, but as a few winners today, which was nice. So that was probably the positive of the day. Do you know what? Despite the performance today, Martin summed it up brilliantly in the chat. You know, he said, "Thank God that's over," because I couldn't wait to turn Aintree on and start watching Aintree because honestly, that performance was terrible. But I didn't let it ruin my day. I've had a nice day. Weather's been lovely, as you probably saw on your TV screens from Aintree. I live about 5 minutes down the road from Aintree, so weather's been lovely. Been out, seen me mum, put some bets on, won a few quid, so can't really complain. And I must be honest, that Bournemouth game has certainly, lifted my mood because now, as I said on the last, I think it was on the reaction show. Said on the reaction show, for me, this game was never going to determine top 4. It was always going to be a difficult game. Obviously, we were hopeful of getting something, but there's other games where I think we secured our top 4 status. The fact we lost today obviously isn't great, but it is what it is. And then obviously with Bournemouth beating Tottenham, it makes it all the better.
And Richard, other than plodding, how are you? You're on mute.
Yeah, come on, Richie. It's not 2019, lad.
He's laughing where he is.
Hey!
No, lads, no, seriously, it's been that sort of day for me, mate. And then the performance just topped it off. I might as well just leave now.
So you're not even plodding. It's not even that good today. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go through this. We'll rapid fire through this so everyone can get to bed early. Right. Here's our team. Changes were Gordon in, Longstaff on the bench, Miggy on the bench, Wilson on the bench, and Isaac started. Of course, then there was the explanation as well, if you can read that from Eddie Howe, that Sean Longstaff had a bout of tonsillitis in the week, so he didn't train, so that's why he started from the bench. So just any thoughts on the lineup, lads? Anyone want to comment on that first?
No.
I'll jump in. I had a feeling that Anthony Gordon was going to start. He started, and I thought this was going to be a massive game for him today. I mean, we'll touch on his performance a bit later on, but I was pleased Anthony Gordon was in the team. I thought Sean Longstaff was a bit unlucky to be left out, but maybe Eddie wants to, try and keep him as fit as possible for the running. But other than that, no. I mean, I was pleased to see Isaac up top. But yeah, I was really encouraged to see Anthony Gordon starting.
Yeah. It was a strong looking team when you first seen it come out. You're kind of going, oh, okay, yeah, like there's pace up front. Isak's there. That's a strong middle. And defense is our defense. Best defense in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from that game, yeah. Let's move on. Let's go to this was Brazil. Villa. How they lined up today. Very good. Right, we'll move on.
Did they have Pete? You were there. Did the Villa lads have special embroidery on their shirts? Just obviously this being their cup final. Or was it just plain standard shirts? No, just thought they might have done something special for the cup final they were in today.
No comment from Pete. He's on mute.
No.
Pete's still on mute.
Pete's on mute.
I didn't put myself on mute. It must be doing it itself because I've not even touched it. But yeah, no, there was
no embroidery for the cup final.
No embroidery, but they definitely did play like it was their cup final.
Yeah.
Cool. Lads, I'll fly through this and I'll stop at the goals and anything else, just shout. First minute, Watkins hit the post. I thought it was going to be something like when Bruno hit the post the last day, and then we kicked on a bit later on. 8 minutes, Isaac snapshot, corner save, good save, and the corner. 10 minutes, Ramsey scores. Watkins got it with the knockdown, 1-0 Villa. Do you want to see a picture? I don't think you do, but here it is anyway. Here's Ramsey, good quality player actually, Ramsey. Then 40 minutes. Anyone want to talk about that goal first? Actually, anyone? Any comment on that goal?
I don't really want to talk about the goal because, but what I will say is that within 2 minutes, or probably less than that, a minute into the game, they play a ball down our right hand side, and look, to be honest, it's a poor header by Trippier, gives it right back to them. They played just one ball in and behind, and Schar just gets absolutely rinsed. Like, he doesn't know where he's at. He's all over the shop. And that wasn't the first time. It wasn't the last time in that game that happened, by the way.
Yeah. Trippier was so close to him, Pete. So close in behind. They were like, Watkins had all the fucking room in the world.
No, I'm not talking about the first goal. I'm talking about that literally a minute within the game. This happened. And then they ran up the other end with that ball being played. Rinsed Schar. And they, I can't remember what happened with that moment whether it came to nothing goal. I think they might have got a call off the back of it. But that set the tone. It set the tone. And it set the tone for our right-hand side of our game, our team. They were dreadful today. Absolutely dreadful. So that goal coming into the back end was poor. I thought it was Schar. It was a little bit of both. I thought Trippier was weak. Didn't do enough to put him off. It's a great header down. It's a proper striker's header down. That's what you used to get from strikers back in the day. And a decent finish.
Yep. Okay, moving on. 40 minutes, Pope save from Watkins. Then Ramsey hit the crossbar after that. They should have scored again, so it should have been 2-0 at that stage. Villa were all over Newcastle, and Newcastle were asleep. I wrote down myself. Desire was kind of questionable today, and not on the same wavelength. Our team of players taking the pitch today really definitely an off day. But that took us to halftime, 1-0 at halftime. There's still hope. There's still hope that we could do like we did at Brentford, mix it up and go for it. No changes though at the start of the second half. Pope makes a save from Watkins in the 48 minutes. Murphy shoots across the goal. Off comes Murphy and Gordon. On comes Miggy and Wilson. 58 minutes. Isaac shot. Great save again. The keeper. 59 minutes. Miggy siding in. You're thinking at this stage, Newcastle are getting into it now. They're building up ahead of steam here. This is where we go seconds later. Watkins goal, but VAR ruled it offside. And it's clear to see it was definitely offside. Marginal, but it was definitely offside. And jump in if you want, lads, and any of these things. 68 minutes, Watkins, 3 minutes later after that VAR ruled where VAR ruled out that goal, Watkins does it again, but this one does count. So Watkins goal. Any thoughts on that one? I haven't bothered watching it back since.
I think weak again. That's that goal. We would again, to coin Pete's phrase, we would defensively we're all over the place. We didn't know who was where. I think we said kind of coming on air, the way that Villa were interchanging between Marino, Watkins, John McGinn, running circles around Bruno and Joe Linton. To be fair, pushing through, you'd wonder who was the older and who was the younger. So defensively, we didn't know who was where. We didn't know. To me, it didn't look like anybody knew who they were picking up. It was all over the place.
Yeah.
I think that goal. I think it's the one I'm thinking. Is this the one where he swiveled? Back to goal, swiveled, put it in. Lovely finish. Can't take anything away from him.
Yeah.
But the fact that he was allowed
should never been allowed to be exactly.
To have the ball back to goal, turn and swivel, just tells you everything you need to know. Go back and watch that goal again and look at Pope's positioning when he swivels and puts it in the net. Like, he might as well have not been in goal.
Yeah, too far to the right hand side of the net.
That was a continued theme of Nick Pope. I'll go into more detail about Nick Pope as an individual, but that just typified his performance. Go watch for anyone that's not watched it in the chat, go and watch that goal back in isolation. His positioning when Watkins puts it in the goal, he might as well have not been there. It was shocking.
Okay, we'll move on. Eddie Howe tries to roll the dice again. They were 2-0 down at this stage. Byrne and Willock off, Target and Longstaff on. 75 minutes, Miggy had a chance. Bruno, nice, lovely through ball to Trips. Trips crossed it over and Miggy had a chance, but nothing happened, obviously. J7 off, Anderson on 79 minutes. 82 minutes, Watkins goal, game over. Thanks. Bad day at the office. Whatever you're having yourself. Congratulations, Villa. They definitely deserved it, and better team on the day by a mile. But it's only our fourth defeat in the season, so it's a little, and we're still in the running. Lads, thoughts overall on the game? Richie, we'll go with you first.
Seriously, mate, I think that's probably the worst performance of the season. Full stop. I think as soon as they hit the post within 40 odd seconds off Watkins, it felt like it was going to be like it did against West Ham when they had a really good first 5 minutes and then Newcastle woke up. Newcastle just never woke up the day. They were just like passengers for the whole of the 90, 95 minutes, however long you want to go. It was just absolutely horrendous, mate. Absolutely horrendous. It looked like it was Nottingham Forest's first game this season. Never played together before, like having 20 odd purchases before kick-off today. Never played together. And they just said, oh, well, lads, look, you've got plenty of Premier League experience. You know how to do it. These have done all right. They haven't really played with anyone of any stature, really, over there within run. We've got this. And that was it. I think the only positive that I think I've got to take out of all day came at 5:10 when Spurs got the Changoed in the 95th minute. I think that's about it. That's it.
It's been the highlight of the day. That definitely has. Chris, thoughts?
I don't know. Yeah, I echo what Rich said. Worst performance of the season. Really, really disappointing. We just looked off. We just looked off it. Didn't that hunger wasn't there that we've seen practically all season. Little bit worrying because we're now at the business end of the season, and you would think that with what 7, 8 games to go. I think it's 7 now. With 7 games to go, this is all that hard work and all that effort that's gone in. I just hope we don't now blow up and just ruin it. Today was always going to be a difficult one for me anyway. I always felt like this could be a tough one when we did our review. When we were looking at the remaining fixtures, I think as a collective we agreed that this would probably be a defeat.
Yes, we did.
Yeah,
There
so
it is.
yeah, it's now for me, especially after that Bournemouth game, it's about how we respond. And I'm really, really pleased that we've got these tough away games out of the way, and we've now our next game is at home, probably to our fiercest rivals at this present moment for that top 4 in Tottenham, because we now need to really step up. What Eddie Howe's going to do in terms of the lineup, I don't know, because he's going to be really disappointed. The camera kept panning onto Eddie Howe throughout the game, and every time he just looked absolutely shell shocked and really, really disappointed. So there'll be a few people who I think he'll back the changes for the next game, because there was a few really, really, really disappointing performances out there today.
Cool. Cheers, Chris. Pete, you had a different perspective because you were at the game. Well, not a better one, but your overall thoughts on the result?
It was a humbler, if I'm honest. It was a real humbler. I thought, we were confident on away days. And I think we've been confident of going there and not losing. I know you boys said when we were looking at who might win, who we might beat, who we might lose against, blah blah blah. When we did the European show, the running, it was a game that I didn't want us to lose, because of the momentum that Villa were on. I thought we'd at least take a point, but I didn't expect us to lose, and I didn't expect us to lose in the manner in which we did. It was bad. It was really, really bad. Like, every single player on the pitch was dreadful. Like, you couldn't. I'm struggling to find an argument for any one of those players, including the subs, to say that they had a decent game, because none of them did. They were really, really poor. Now, what I'm hoping is that result is the kick up the backside that we need, and I'll take us back to 2011, 2012. The run that we've just been on, Man United, West Ham, Brentford, reminds me of the fixtures around Easter time at that point, where we went to Swansea and won. Then we had the Ben Arthur wonder goal at St James's Park against Bolton, and we went on that run. But then after that, we dropped a few points, and we let the likes of Tottenham back into this race. We cannot afford for that to happen now. So we need that game today to be the kick up the arse that we need to take us further. We've got 3 games. Let's not look too far ahead. We've got 3 games. Massive game. Potentially a decider after they lost today against Bournemouth at our place. We're finally now back at St James's Park after a number of away games, like Chris rightly said. We've got an opportunity to put to bed potentially Tottenham on Sunday. Let's go do that. Yeah. Then we'll get Everton. Everton got beat comfortably, I believe. Is it 3-1 to Fulham?
Fulham, yeah.
They were awful, by the way. We've lost Pete.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, he's back. Yeah, you're back.
Yeah, Everton got tucked away 3-1 to Fulham today.
They were terrible, mate. Terrible.
So I didn't watch the game, but then we go to Everton on the Thursday, and then we've got bottom of the league. Everybody's beating them at the moment. Palace went and took 3 points from them today at St James's Park.
We're there.
And we're there. Most importantly, we're there. So
we might be playing if they watch us again the day before.
The important part is that actually this becomes a non-factor. I think, Chris, you might have even said that actually in our chat. We go, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you actually said this. We go and beat Tottenham on Sunday, and put those other two results, Everton and Southampton, no Newcastle fan will give a shit about this game today. We put 9 points back on the board after this. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And I guarantee within those next 3 games that the teams around us drop points. Spurs will if we beat them. Man United will. They could well do tomorrow as well. And there's no doubt that Villa and potentially Brighton will drop points because they're all starting to play each other now. So this is the perfect opportunity to hit back, in my opinion.
Can I ask, well, you and the rest of the lads a question? In many ways, and I know this sounds really like weird saying it, but in many ways, is it good that we've not been edged out and we've lost that 2-1 and it was quite promising and there was bits and bobs there? Is it good that we've had this absolute mauling where we all kind of just step back and go, whoa, hang on a minute, like we got totally outclassed there? Is that good in terms of the running, in terms of Eddie Howe? Eddie Howe's going to have been in that dressing room giving them a kick up the backside and going, if you want top 4, that's unacceptable. Because you're not going to get top 4 if you carry on like that. Because that was just that. It kind of felt like the Bruce days, didn't it? Where like you come on and you go, I've got nothing positive to say at all.
Chris, you know what it reminds me of, and we were there. It reminds me.
Leicester.
No,
not Leicester.
Spurs. It reminds me of the Spurs game.
Yeah,
last season.
That was awful.
At their place. Nobody expected us to get smashed like that against Spurs at their ground. But what it did, it gave us a kick up the arse. And although we would have loved to have taken points today, a point 3, and continue the great run, actually, we're maybe in a false sense of security after those run of results. And that just gives us a kick up the arse. And Howe will back that up and say, I'm not having that.
Yeah.
But I don't know what you boys think. And look, this is maybe a conversation for later on in the show, but I'll throw it out now because Daz is not here. Oh, Daz is back. Maybe I'll throw it out there. Maybe we discuss this later on, boys, because I want to get your thoughts on this. Is actually, with Howe giving them a kick up the arse, because he would have done that today. There's no doubt about it. Does he then double up on that and go, you know what? Some of you guys weren't good enough. And I'm not going to name names. I'm going to say, right, you're coming out of the team. That wasn't good enough today. You're coming out of the team. You're coming back into the team. Show me why you don't deserve to be dropped again. Show me why you deserve to be playing in this team week in, week out. And does he go and make changes for the game at St. James's Park to let some of these boys know that might be getting a little bit comfortable in this team, that it's not guaranteed? I don't know what you think about that.
I agree. Sean Longstaff's a shoe-in for the next game. Put it that way.
Yeah, it is interesting that people with so much riding on this next game, it's and every game thereafter is it the time to implement something like that. And there's a collective that they were all pretty shit today. It wasn't just like a handful. Really, it was them all. So. Yeah. It will be interesting to see what he does, though, and I'm sure he will read the right act during the week on that. But did we get to you, Mark? Sorry, so well, what? We kind of know that you disappointed with the result today and everything that goes with it. But do you think this game coming on Sunday is a 6-pointer? Is our Champions League's hopes all built on this game?
No, I don't. Look, there's still plenty to play for. I think Pete makes a really good point. Teams around us are starting to play each other. Out of the games we got, we've still got some really good home games. I think we've enough bench wise and team wise to beat Spurs. And I would say, possibly even a Stu Pettman special, a 3-1 next week. Son is starting to find the goals again, but. Defensively, Spurs are not great. They're not great. They do concede goals, So look at today, Bournemouth putting 3 past them. I mean, Lloris was chipped over twice. Little dinks over the top of him. So Spurs are there to be got at. I think on today's, look, I think everybody was pissed off. I sat here in the bar watching the game and, look, we were all texting and everything else going, what the fuck is going on here? But I think you've got to take that aside and go, do you know what? Villa Newcastle does. I said that to Jordan Cronin on Twitter. They did to us what we've done to a lot of teams this season. Emery had his tactics right. We went to probably one of the outside of us, one of the most informed teams with the most informed striker in the country at the moment, outside of Haaland, in Ollie Watkins. So you have to just hold your hand up and go, do you know what? Shit day at the office. They were all brutal. I thought maybe between first and second half, maybe Isaac did enough to kind of pass the barriers, but for everybody else, from Pope, the back four, the middle was non-existent for me. And I think Isaac, until Wilson came on and Miggy, and we started to show a little bit more going forward, it's probably, and I said it to you lads in the chat, that's the worst performance since Cambridge for me 12 months ago. It's the worst performance from those lads in a shirt. But I will take the positives, which is we're still in third position. We've got some really good home games. We probably, I think, need to change it up a bit. I think, I think Pete's right. You can't necessarily be critical of one player because I think there was many today. But if I was looking at changes for Spurs, I think Dan Burn looked absolutely shattered and he made some horrible mistakes today. He was absolutely skinned by McGinn numerous times and put on his backside, like you can see there. And I think maybe it's just time for Target to come back in. And, maybe that middle, if, Botman and Schar were the same today as well, some horrendous mistakes. Markham was all over the place. I never thought I would say this, but maybe it's time for the Cells to come back in for a game. I don't know. Maybe I know. Yeah, fuck. Don't post that anyway.
Not my
but yeah, I just think defensively, I agree.
Still that boat, you shipped him off in.
Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe it is time for a bit of a shake-up. And look, I trust Eddie Howe. I know he likes to try and keep, the team kind of intact and that back five intact. But Jesus, lads, they were woeful today. That's the worst I've seen us this season. But as I said, we're still third. We've got some good home games. Spurs lost, and we're now sitting, and I'm looking at my Twitter timeline, and I got Man United fans tagging me going, no team picture today. Do you know what I mean? We're rent-free in their heads. Smelly Manchester wanks. Do you know what I mean? Who cares? Let them rock on. We can do whatever we want.
We have a few of them, though.
Yeah, we do have a few of them. So, yeah. Listen, I think, and it might have even been me and Pete talking about this on text earlier week. We've just come off the back of winning 5 in a row. And we hit an informed Villa at Villa Park with an informed striker who's won, outside of Haaland, as I said, is the most informed striker in the country. When we did the European show, I tagged it and said, it's the one game we lose. Yeah. Out of the 3 games, it's the one I was worried about because of where they were. And look, It is what it is. So, look, we put it back. We go again. I'm sure Eddie will get the lads on the pitch. He'll make the changes that he feels are right. And when those lads step onto the pitch next weekend at 3:00 or whatever time we play, I'll back the lads to turn up in those black and white shirts, and I'd expect them to put a performance in for the 52,000 at St James's. And if they don't, then players need to be dropped. Nobody is fucking invincible in that team. The midfield today, I was more shocked. Listen, defensively, it's hard to put it into words. I was more shocked at the midfield that the likes of Buendia and John McGinn absolutely pissed through Joe Linton and Bruno like they weren't there. They were just so off the mark, every single player. Is it a bit of lethargy?
I thought, to be honest, Mars, as well, even when Target come on, I thought Target was pretty poor when he come on. Like,
I think they were all poor, but the game was over, Chris. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, it was.
The game was effectively over at 1-0. We never looked like coming back into it. I thought Mickey did all right when he came on, to be fair. I thought, I didn't,
effort again.
I thought some of Murphy's ball play and some of the balls he put into the box, I thought were all right. I thought Isaac was lucky enough to get on one.
Exactly.
Isaac missed, exactly. So, I don't think... Look, I think collectively as a team, as I said, it's the worst performance I think we've put in since Cambridge. It had that feel about it. A lot of people say, "Oh, it's back to Bruce ball." Listen, it's never that fucking bad. And we've just come off the back. We've just come off the back of winning 5 with 3 really hard away games. So I'm going to keep the positive, and I'm going to say, listen, we still our destiny's our own. I said that to you lads in the chat. I don't care what other results are. I don't care what the Manchester Reds do tomorrow. I don't care what happened to Spurs. I don't care about any fucker else. Brighton, Fulham, anybody else or Villa. I only care about the 3 points that we go out and get. And the destiny is ours, nobody else's. Simple as that.
Yeah, It is until it's not, and what it is, that's the way we look at it. Right, let's go
Well,
now.
at least we're not Chelsea.
Yeah. Now, normally in the ratings, we take about 40 minutes to go through ratings. This is going to be rapid fire, 5 minutes. We're doing these ratings. So if this is a game of higher or lower, I'll throw a figure at you, lads. If you have a comment on a particular player, work it in. But higher or lower. First up, Pope. I'm going 5.5 for Popey. He had the header clearance in the first half, and he had some saves in the first half as well. But he did let in 3. Not all his fault, but 5.5, higher or lower?
I'm going low, unfortunately for me today.
What's your number?
I'm going to give him a 3. I know he had a couple of saves and maybe kept a couple out the first half, but I think he's really worrying me at the moment. I don't like this whole disappearing out of the box and everything else. Puts the shits up me. So yeah, I don't know. He's not giving me confidence at the moment. Put it that way.
Okay, Martin's lower. Anyone else? 5.5 or higher or lower?
Lower.
I'll give a flat 5. What I will say, I'm not going to go into detail about why I gave him a 5, because there's a lot of 5s in my predictions. I've got to be honest. What I will say is that I don't know if you guys noticed. I don't know if people in the chat noticed, but Pope was very, very indecisive today, particularly when coming and collecting balls. Whether it was out of the box, whether it was in the air, he was very, very indecisive, and I think that had an impact on the back line. It had an impact on the back line because he wasn't his decisive self. He normally comes out. He stayed very much to his line, which is that's not what Pope is about. That's not what he's built his reputation on. He stuck to his line today. Whether he's still carrying injuries, not quite 100%, I don't know, but that certainly filtered into the performance of the centre
All back 5 were very, very nervous. I thought, especially in the second half, I think they got worse as they went on. Pete.
But that's what a goalkeeper does. A goalkeeper takes the pressure off the defence. The times that Pope comes and collects the ball, takes the pressure off. There was times in that first half, in particular, where he could have done it and he didn't, and it put more pressure on the back line.
Yeah, I think the other thing for me, and I think we've mentioned this in a couple of the shows now. We are just so bad at defending corners and set plays. For the height we've got in that defence, we're just so bad at first round corners and collecting second ball and drop downs. And it's been piss poor all season.
And we're not great at trying to score the other end.
About it.
Yeah. Right, lads, we'll move on. But before we do, just a reminder, if you're in the chat, there's 200 people in the chat. Make sure you hit that like button. Helps us grow. And if you're new, hit that subscribe button as well. If you want to chat, you have to hit that subscribe button it'll allow you to comment in the chat. Right, we'll move on. Let's go to trips. No comments. 4 for me. Higher or lower?
Lower.
Lower from Richie.
Going higher, is he?
No, Pete's going for the same. Richie's going lower. What are you giving him, Richie?
3.
3 for trips.
I'll go with the 4. I think he was worst game for him, I think, all season.
Yeah.
Okay.
Since you joined the club, mate.
The club. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, agreed.
Shocking. How many times did Watkins turn in on his left-hand side and either win a free kick or beat him? It was either Watkins or Ramsey. Yeah. And it happened time and time again. It's like we were screaming in the away end, going, like, why are you allowing this to happen? He was continuing on.
He was burnt. He was burnt on pace so many times, which I've never seen before. Burnt.
I've seen it. I've seen him do it against Rashford, Man United. Seen that because I found that equally disappointing. But there was a moment where there was a little bit of play in between, so I felt like he got away with any blame for that. But I've seen it against Man United, and Rashford ended up scoring. But yeah, he was poor today, really, really poor.
I think Mourinho had an absolute field day down that left-hand side of the little day. I don't think any of the wingers in front of Trippier did themselves any favour either, because Trippier was either upfield trying to get in front of the winger, but the wingers weren't tracking back. Miggy and Trips didn't even look like they played on the same pitch for the last 6 months. I just there was a complete disconnection. Completely. Just going back to something that he said about Pope, when we talk about Pope in the back line. I think you've got to look at Pope's confidence as well. The fact that twice in the last three away games, they've hit the post in the first minute. That's going to unsettle anyone. But they've haven't, a team doing that to him. Bear in mind, they're meant to be the best defensive record in the Premier League at the moment, conceded the fewest goals, and twice out of the last 3 games, they've hit the post in the first minute. That'll unsettle anyone. And so, if that's unsettling, his confidence is shot, then he's not going to come for balls as well because he hasn't got the confidence in the people around him. And I think, as people have said in the chat today, it's been coming. We've been looking to turn it around against West Ham, and we turned it around last week with a good second-half performance. It was coming. It's been coming for a while. And as Martin said earlier, we did all pick out this as potentially the one fixture that was going to be our difficult one before the end of the season. Hopefully, we've got a week here to work on a team that's probably worse than us at the minute. That Eddie Howe just turned around and said, "Look, you can't go any worse. You cannot rest on any laurels going forward now." They treat it like a cup final today. From now going forward, we treat every single fixture as a cup final going forward.
Exactly. I saw coming up through there in the chat, I think Andy said it's his birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, Andy. Your present will come hopefully the 3 points next weekend. Not this weekend. Right. Schar. Got an nearly yellow. Pete, you highlighted a few things that Schar did wrong today. I give it a 4. Higher or lower?
Lower.
Yeah.
Richie's killing everyone tonight.
I'm sorry, I've got to give Schar a 3. I have to give him a 3 for that. I thought he was really, really poor today. Really poor. He got rinsed time and time again by Ollie Watkins. Ollie Watkins got the ball in and behind. I've never seen this Newcastle backline get beat with the ball in and behind, and how many one-on-ones Watkins had on Schar's right-hand side that Botman was then having to come over and try and recover off the back of it. And a couple of really, to be fair, it's the reason why Pope got fired, because for me, if he hadn't made the saves that he did, it would have been a hell of a lot lower in terms of a rating. Pope saved him. Botman's made a challenge or done something to stop that from happening. He was all over the place. He was not at the races today. I have no idea why. And what was really, really interesting early on into the second half, he makes a mistake. Watkins gets in and behind. I think he gets saved or knocked out for a corner. And Botman goes absolutely mad at Schar. And I've never seen that happen before because they're such a great partnership and they've got an understanding. But he's going mad, like, what are you doing? He's literally saying, what are you doing? And Schar's going, he's kind of going, saying something back at him, but you can tell on his face, he knows he's fucked up. Like, he knows he's not playing well. He just knew it. Worst performance. I'll give him a 3.
Interesting. See, will Lascelles step in there next week? Right, up next, Botman. I've given Botman a 4 as well. Higher or lower? Same from Richie.
I thought he was the best of a poor bunch.
Yeah, I thought he was the best of the back line anyway, put it that way.
I give him the same as Pope. I give him a 5.
Yeah, I was going to say
I would have said a 5.
Purely because I think he was better than Trippier, and I give Trippier a 4. So that's why I give Botman a 5. Not that that's a great score or anything.
It wasn't good by any means.
He was a good bad.
Yeah,
right.
A good bad. I like that part. A good bad.
The best bad.
Let's move on to Burn, baby Burn. Not a great day for Burn. And as Martin highlighted, John McGinn showed him up a few times as well. I give him Burn a 3.
Burnt out 2.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm giving Burn a 2 today.
I'd give him a 3. I put him on par with Schar. I think him and Schar were awful.
I give Burn a 4, if I'm honest. I think he tactically we got outdone with what Villa did. Mark, you talked about it. We noticed it in the stand as well.
Push McGinn on him, yeah, very early on.
The amount of times they basically what they did is, and Mark, you know this because you said it yourself. They put McGinn out on him, and there was fans that were getting frustrated because they were like, "Why is Burn not winning anything in the air? He's this tall and blah blah blah." And I was going, "Look at the balls that Martinez is putting into him." By the way, Martinez was outstanding. We've hammered him and we've backed Pope, and rightly so, by the way. But Martinez's distribution
was top.
The money. Yeah. And you look at his distributions. His distributions weren't big lumps into the air. It was driven balls at level into either McGinn's head or into his chest. And all it was just
him and
Burn.
Him and Buendia were class.
The amount of times McGinn, all McGinn was doing is pulling his shirt down just to stop him getting any type of jump on. And he was winning free kicks off it. All he was doing, the ball was coming into him, and McGinn wasn't even trying to head the ball. He wasn't trying to control it. He wasn't even trying to get a touch on it. All he was doing is getting the ball driven into him, and he was letting the ball bounce off him. And then the second midfielder would pick the ball up, and bang, they're on an attack straight away. And it happened time and time again. And I called it. I said to the fans that were in front of it, because I saw.
Carl
was a couple of rows in front with his little boy,
Max.
And we were talking, that was a fake smile, by the way, because I was pissed off at half time.
You wear it so well.
What a photo. And to be fair, like
every time I meet him, Pete, I have to put on a fake smile as well.
It was fake as because I was seething at half time. But what we were saying to the guys in front of us is, I said, watch the next ball that he plays out, driven ball into him, and it gets bounced off. The midfielder picks the ball up, and possession is won, and they're bang on the attack again. And the tactic was won. What I would say,
it was very, very clever, because I seen him line up, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, I didn't think too much about it, because I thought, "Geez, Burn's just going to smash him here." Why would you put one of the shortest Villa players on 6'6" Burn? Yeah. So clever, so best tactic of the match from Villa by a long way.
John McGinn is as strong as an ox.
He is.
He could not be displaced.
So hard to knock off the ball when he's running. His centre of gravity is so unbelievable.
He was brilliant.
Unbelievable.
He's a fucking prick as well. Absolutely.
He's a prick. But
every single time.
He's a clever prick.
Yeah, no, he is. Every single time something didn't go his way, he was screaming at the referee. He'd do exactly the same thing about 2 minutes later, and he was like,
in the referee's face all game.
Yeah,
him and
Tyrone. That's what you need to do. That's what you need to do.
Absolutely. Shithousen. We fucking none of that today.
The reason why I gave Burn a 4 is because I didn't think he had much. I don't think he was beaten as often as Trippier was down his side defensively. He got outdone and outworked by McGinn on that left hand side. But I thought defensively he didn't get beaten in and behind, which is what we expected him to. So I don't. For that reason, I thought he did his job by not letting guys get in and behind him. But I just thought that battle with McGinn, it messed with him. Like he could not figure out how to stop McGinn doing what he was doing. He could not. He had a 5-minute spell where he won a couple of headers, and you thought, right, in the second half, right, he's got it, and it just went back to type. So that's why I gave my 4. Again, still not very good. But would you guys want to change? Would you guys bring Target on? Chris has said that from your opinion, and a lot of people in the stands agreed that he came on and didn't really do too much either. He got bullied by McGinn just as bad.
He was just getting as bad. Yeah.
Would you make the change? Would any of you guys make the change Sunday?
I've been looking who else can play left back.
And Matt Ritchie.
It's like a tough one. We know that. We know in the summer that's one of the places that needs replacing. And Target isn't the answer. I think what I would do if I was Eddie Howe, I'd be looking to see how both of them train this week. Pure and simple. See if there's a reason why. But I think one thing, and a few people have mentioned it in the chat, is I think Dan Burn's got to go back to doing basics. This running up like he's Kieran Trippier sometimes, try to go forward and try to do the odd fancy little turn. He isn't that kind of player. He's just got to realise. We said this before about players. Some players who just play to their ability. You know, we said about Sean Longstaff. You know, he does what his role is to perfection. And today, I'm not for lads. Anybody who turns around and says, "What does Sean Longstaff do in the team?" Our team, I think it was highlighted today the fact when he wasn't there. That midfield three today were lost without him. The ground he covers, the interchangeability he does without Bruno. You know, one sits back, one goes forward, and vice versa. That understanding there. Obviously, we'll get on this a bit more detail, but I think Dan Burn has literally got to go back to just doing what he does best, and that's defending.
The thing with Dan Burn, if you switch him out, and I know we're going to move on very quickly. Next weekend, he's going to have Kulusevski and Pedro Porro run at him. With a front two switching in and out between Son and Harry Kane. And if they switch their wings, which they sometimes do, it'll be either Porro, Kulusevski, or probably Perisic.
Do you know what, though, Mark? Take your point, but I suppose we've got to remember this season, you know, Dan Burns come up against some very quick and
absolutely. I'm not saying. I'm just saying that's like, you know, he didn't really handle that movement today. He's going to have possibly 3 players that will interchange in that same kind of triangle next week. So if I'm looking at that and I'm Eddie Howe, I'm kind of going, right, hold on. Kulusevski's got pace. Porro gets up and down the line. Perisic moves in and out, comes through the middle sometimes. Son can come across that side. It's not easy.
Right, change of tactic. To make this even faster, because it's not working, we're going to go take the whole midfield together, and we're going to go Bruno, Willock, and J7. So for Bruno, I'm giving Bruno a 6. Higher or lower?
I'm lower on that.
Lower today for me.
Yeah.
Lower. What? Give me a figure.
5 for me.
Certainly no higher than 5 for me.
I just think he was trying his best to carry the midfield today, but with the ankle injury that he's got, that's obviously he's carrying. He just found it really hard. And unfortunately looked like half a yard out of pace as well, because I think that's because of his ankle. We know he's going to.
Yeah, there's something not right with him.
Yeah, he said he knows he's going to have to get it dealt with at the end of the season. He's going to try and play on it till the end of the season. I think if we get to the situation where we actually qualify for the Champions League earlier in the season, I think we'll see Bruno gone earlier than the last game of the season if we qualify for the Champions League before that.
4 for me. Bruno Guimaraes was a passenger in that midfield today. I'm sorry. For as much as we love him, he was an absolute passenger in that midfield. He made that midfield look worse than what it was. And look, we love him. He's a great player, but you cannot have someone in that midfield with the midfield that we're up against today when you're 60% fit. You could tell. You could tell he weren't fit. Yeah. Eddie Howe said he was fully fit, 100% fit in his presser. He was not 100% fit. He couldn't get around the pitch. There was no aggressiveness. The thing that makes Bruno Guimaraes great is his aggressive play. He's combative. He gets stuck in a tackle. I can't remember him getting stuck in a tackle at all in that game.
There was a bit of that.
There was literally in the first 15 minutes, and that was it. But it was one down.
There was no bite from him or Joe Linton at all today. Nothing.
No.
Nothing from either. So I agree.
For me, Joe Linton was the worst of the 3 today.
Yeah. Bruno gets a 4, Joe Linton gets a 3, and that they were.
I think Joe Linton looked like what you'd expect a centre forward playing in midfield for the first time today was. That's my opinion. I just thought he was completely off the pace. Didn't look like out. I think he'd never played in midfield before, which obviously we know he has. And I was surprised he was the last of the midfielders, bar Bruno, that was taken off. I think he should have been took off before Willock.
Okay, let's move on. Let's go to Willock. Give him Willock a 5.
Willock 5. I'll give him a 5.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, 5.
I thought he wasn't great, but I thought he was the best midfielder out of the 3.
Yeah.
But he looked very tired the back end of that first half. He was blown out of his ass near half time.
He was working harder than the other 2, Mark. That's why.
Yeah, he was having to do 2 men's work
because they weren't getting around the pitch. There was so many times where the Pope, the defence, had the ball at their feet, and they had Joe Linton facing the other way. He didn't want it. He didn't want the ball. No turning towards the defender, not trying to find some space. Willock was the only one that wanted the ball at his feet. The only one in that midfield three that wanted the ball.
Yeah, Paul.
Right, let's move on. J7, I'm giving him a 5 as well. Higher or lower?
Lower.
Who's that, J7?
Bigger.
Yeah.
J7.
Yeah, no lower for me today.
4.
Oh, 4.
Here's Summer. Here's Summer.
Wanted to say hi. It's not the time for music, so
yeah. We don't have any misery songs. No, we don't.
No. Sorry, who was that? So who was that? You were Mark?
Joe Linton.
Joe Linton.
Joe Linton. Yeah, 3.
3. Wow.
I think
probably agree.
I think a 4 is generous.
I'd give him a 3, the same as Chris.
Right, let's move on. We're going into the attackers. Let's go towards Murphy. Some crosses in the first half. Sometimes though he's just that off on his timing that pisses me off. I'm giving him a 5.25. Higher or lower?
Lower.
Yeah, no, I'll give him a 5. I thought first half he was hit and miss. Second half, I thought he played a bit more ball till he was subbed. I thought he was okay. He wasn't the worst on the pitch.
Okay. This is Jacob Murphy.
Yeah, I'd give him a 5.
Yeah,
Okay.
he wasn't the worst, but he was off his game for me as well.
Yeah,
but that's twice now, Mark. Because he wasn't great against Brentford either.
No, he wasn't.
So we said on away days, Chris. I don't know if you remember. We said he didn't play great against Brentford. He got hooked at half time, but he deserved another opportunity, another crack at the whip today.
And that was it.
Do you put Miggy back in there? Do you put Miggy back in there, Pete?
Yeah,
I would. I think Miggy can.
Yeah, me too, man.
For Tottenham, 100%.
I think both wingers come out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't start. I wouldn't start Gordon.
No.
I wouldn't. I've said it to you boys before, and I'll say it again. You won't see the best of Gordon until next season.
He looked completely off it. Within 15 minutes, Pete, they kept zooming in on his face, which you may not have seen because you would have think he didn't look right. Right.
They were going on that narrative though about the whole coming off next day. They were waiting for the action kind of thing. Yeah, they were kind of
shower dickheads.
Yeah. I'm not weighing in on that sort of stuff. I'll be honest with you. We're segueing onto Gordon here. I wouldn't have started. I wouldn't have started Gordon, to be honest. I personally wouldn't have. I don't think he's ready to start. He hasn't done enough to start.
He's better as that impact coming on around 60, 65.
To be fair, Pete, I agree with you. I wouldn't have played him either, but I think the reason why he played is because there was no Maxi and because Longstaff had tonsillitis during the week, so I haven't trained. I think that's the only reason why Gordon played, so Willock had to move back into the middle. Yeah. If Longstaff had played, I think Willock or Joe Linton would have played on the left. I don't think Gordon would have played.
Yeah, no, that's fair. If Gordon had given an assist or a goal, I think he needs to do one of those two things to then command a start. But I get your point, and I agree. I think that's probably the reason why. But I wouldn't be if Miggy's ready to go. I think Miggy starts. He has to.
I don't think you'll see either of them next week. I really don't. I think you'll see Miggy back on the right, and I think you'll probably see either Joe Linton or Willock on the left, because I think Longstaff comes back in hands down, and hopefully, and hopefully Bruno's feeling a bit better with it. I'd rather rest him for half the week. Try and take some of the impact on his ankle off, let him train towards the back end of the week just to make sure he can get on the training pitch and stuff like that. And then obviously, hopefully Joe Linton's a bit better with playing back at home with the fans behind him. But I think what was more gutting for me was obviously, I know we've agreed he wouldn't have started. It was the fact that obviously he kicked off obviously for bringing off, and obviously we understood why he came off, why he brought him off. Obviously, after he sat down with them and obviously went through everything, it calmed down. If for Gordon, for me, that's where he has to turn around and say, look, I'm going to put this sort of performance in where he's not going to do that for me again. I've got to give the fans a right, a reason why I shouldn't be taken off. It should be someone else who sacrificed before me. And obviously, as Pete, I agree. I don't think we'll see the best of him until the summer next season. But if you're paying that sort of money for him, and he was Everton, pretty much Everton's creativity went through him while he was there with Richarlison last season. It suffered this year when obviously majority of it was coming through him. You'd expect playing with more quality players around him at Newcastle, he'd be up his game, but he's flattered to deceive at the minute. And I think you're right.
But let's be clear here. That was a collective bad team performance.
Yeah. It was.
He's come in, and he's basically on a hard to nothing because I just don't think anyone give him. Well, no one did him any favors today. I'm not defending Gordon saying he was good today because he wasn't. And I personally would drop him for next game, but I wouldn't. Like, I've seen someone in the chat there say he's crap. Like he needs time. He needs time. He needs time.
It was a bit of a gamble today from Eddie Howe, like thinking, okay, that'll be the trigger now. He'll show what to repay the whole thing from last week. It didn't really work out. I don't think we got a number for Gordon.
He was getting nowhere down the side. He was trying to come inside. There was nobody from the midfield wanting to pick up a ball when he was coming inside. Isaac was making some good runs. Wilson came on and done a bit. Listen, I can understand Eddie putting him in there. I think probably with the players that were missing, he probably didn't really have too much of an option looking at the bench.
Yeah,
I think there was an opportunity for Gordon, or there is an opportunity, I would say, for Gordon to really show the player he is, because I believe he is. It just wasn't today, and it's that simple.
Yeah,
Flash will return. I think I'm going to say 4.5. 4.5 for me.
3.
Anyone else?
I'm a 4.5. Yeah.
4.
For Gordon, I'll be honest. I'll give him a 5. I don't think he was shite. He just didn't do anything.
Yeah,
and that's it. Like Chris rightly said, the whole team didn't do anything. But
Pete, can I ask you, Chris? Do you think he should be doing better against a 37-year-old Ashley Young, though?
Oh, he should have done better today. He should have.
We're discarding that he's now a well-drilled 37 experienced right back in Ashley Young. Ashley Young against us at St James's Park got rinsed time and time again when we beat them 4-0. But it's very, very different now under Emre. Emre's got them well-drilled, well-organised. They all knew their jobs and what they needed to do. So I'm not going to hold that against Anthony Gordon. I think Ashley Young actually played him very, very well. Just like Alex Moreno played Murphy very, very well. I thought I'm not going to take anything away from Gordon there. I just when you're with all the emotion of last week, if you're starting, I would have just wanted a little bit more. To show that you deserve another start.
Yeah. That was his chance to kind of go, I'm here and I'm a baller.
Yeah.
And he didn't take it.
Yeah, and the whole team was poor. And Chris is absolutely right. The whole team
I think his time will come.
That affects his performance.
Yeah, it
affects him being able to show what he's all about.
And if you're not getting nobody linking with you either, like you say, that's what I mean. The midfield was so poor when he was coming from the left or he was trying to go, ahead. There was no other than Isaac. There was nobody linking with him. Nobody.
Yeah.
So you can't blame the kid for having a shitty game.
No. Don't pin it all on Isaac. No way.
No, exactly.
No.
But then you got you're reading Twitter and stuff, and you're looking at some of the fucking melons on there slating him. It's nonsense.
Don't look at Twitter after a defeat. Have you not learned?
Exactly. No, I love looking at it.
You revel in it.
Pete's piece about Villa. Do you know the thing with Villa? All Emery's got them doing is back to basics. That's it. He's just got them back to basics, like Eddie Howe did with us when he first took over. Do the basics well.
They're well organised. They remind me. I don't know if you guys agree. They remind me of what Eddie Howe's Newcastle were this time last year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
How we were this time last year. This
Strong,
is how
organised, defensively minded, lined up, strategically clever.
Yeah.
And that's what I say. We were out Newcastle today.
Yeah.
If this was at St James's Park today, I think we see a different Newcastle, but I also think we see a different Villa. They would have set up different. They would have played different. They probably wouldn't have got as much joy because they had a 12th man behind them. The fact they're at Villa Park and they're at home, they've had a number of home games recently that have gone in their favour. They're doing well and they're riding that wave. And
they're 5 in a row now.
5 wins on the bounce, but
absolutely,
the test will come. They've got 7 games left now.
Yeah,
they've got some big games to play. If they come through that and win all those games, fair play to them.
Yep. Let's move on. Let's go to Isaac. Isaac, very isolated today. Of course, he had a bit of help then in the second half with Wilson up as well. But 5.5 I've gone for Isaac. Higher or lower?
I'd say 5. I haven't really got a particular problem with Isaac. I felt a little bit sorry for him actually because every time he seemed to press, nobody was behind him. He had a really good shot as well, first half against Martinez. So I don't think Isaac gets any pelters today, but equally I don't think he was that good either. But I'd say probably 5 for me.
I'll give him a 6.
Yeah, I've got to agree. I'll give him a 6 for same as Mart. He was completely isolated.
He was our best player today.
Yeah, he was isolated all day today, and the chances that he did create were by himself. As Chris said, the press was non-existent. He was pressing by himself, especially first half. I suppose what quality you've got, isn't it? You know what I mean? That's why he's our record sign. He's a quality player. Just didn't have any help today, unfortunately. I don't think.
Yeah.
Right, that's it. The ratings are done. Let's move on. Do you want a bit of good news? Here's the table. We are still third in the table. We've 8 games left. We're on 56 points. Man U do play tomorrow. They play Forest, but Tottenham lost today. Last minute goal from Bournemouth.
Django.
So they've only 7 games left. So we have a game in hand over them, and we're 3 points ahead of them. And of course, we play them next Sunday at St James's Park. And for me, it's a must-win game, lads. I everything on this.
It's not a must-win.
To me, it is. It is because we just.
It's not. It's not a be-all and end-all game, Kaz. Well, maybe, but it's not. I'm just saying.
It would have been if they won today. If they won today, I think it would have been a must-win.
It would have put more pressure on, but
what it does. And I don't know if you guys agree, if we win on next Sunday, it almost kind of puts us back to that kind of that status quo. Like that's where we are now. 6 points ahead. We've got a game in hand. And actually, what it does, interestingly, I don't know if you want to pop that league up again.
Yeah.
It puts massive pressure. This is a massive game for Tottenham, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
If Villa go and win,
it makes or breaks their season more than it does ours.
Brighton have got games in hand on Tottenham, 2 in fact, and Brighton win next weekend. Brighton were outstanding against Chelsea today. Could have won by more. If they both win next weekend and then we beat them, that potentially not only does it put us 6 points ahead with then a game in hand, which is Brighton, that puts a question mark on Tottenham even qualifying for the Champions League. Because you've got then
potentially Europe, Pete.
Yeah, potentially Europe.
Potentially Europe. I mean, with Liverpool where they are right now, you could question it, and the way they're playing. But to be fair, Liverpool have got the ability on them to actually pull results out to pull them back. But what it does, it takes potentially them out of the Champions League questions, and it strengthens our position for Champions League massively off the back of that, because Tottenham then have to play Man United at home. They then have to, if I'm right in thinking, they play Liverpool.
They do, yeah.
They play another team after that. This
Palace.
is a massive run for them. They could be genuinely in 7th place after the next 3 games.
Yeah,
you've got to remember as well.
Tottenham have got us. Then they've got us away. They've got the Manchester Reds at home. They've got Liverpool away. Crystal Palace at home. Villa away, Brentford at home, and Leeds away. Yeah,
So they've got
Villa
Villa
away.
away.
Yeah, there you go. There we go.
Away.
There we go.
And Brentford, yeah. Spurs running is fucking horrible. Horrible.
Brentford, Leeds. You know what? We win that on Sunday. That could
Tottenham
be
don't come back from that.
Yeah.
I would be more worried about Brighton than I would be Spurs.
Brighton are playing some outstanding stuff.
Yeah,
Now
I'm more worried about them than I am anybody else.
Yeah, but
Go to Man
if
City. Man
Brighton
City
have,
there
got to
next.
go, Brighton have got to go to their last game of the season.
Yeah.
And let's
as
be
well.
honest, boys. If you
They've
look,
got
you
us,
look at our
they've got
fixtures
Man U.
there. We go and beat Spurs, right? So that puts a little bit of a gap between us and Spurs. We've got Everton away. We've got Southampton at home. We've got Leicester at home. Very, very, very winnable games. Very winnable games.
You've got after the Spurs game, I would take our running against over anyone else they've got there. If you look at Spurs, right, there's a chance Spurs come 7th, right? They might not even get European football because if West Ham or Man United win the Europa League or the Conference League, 7th gets knocked.
Yeah, Spurs could lose the next 3. You look at it: Newcastle away, Man United at home, Liverpool away. They're not picking up many points from that.
And then they have Villa and after Palace. And Leeds, who will be fighting to stay in the league, you imagine as well.
Brentford will be no easy game either. London derby. No easy game.
Yeah, if anything, you're looking at the Brighton ones. I agree. You're looking at the Brighton ones. They've got Forest, Wolves, Everton. Okay, Arsenal's going to be a struggle. Southampton. And then it could be up to us to make sure that we put the nail in Brighton's coffin.
Those 3 aren't easy, yeah, for Brighton. And they've got the FA Cup and fixtures.
5 wins. To be fair, it might even be worth dropping Liverpool from that conversation, depending on how they get on this weekend, and adding Villa fixtures into that.
I was thinking that too.
Look, with 5 wins takes us to what, 70, 71 points. I think that's enough for Champions League football. I don't think any of those teams, and I would even include Man United in that, would catch us with 5 wins from our next remaining games. Man United have lost Martinez for the rest of the season, who's been one of their main centre backs. Varane, I don't know how long he's out for.
Yeah,
Rashford's out the games.
Pete, do you think we have it wrapped up with 2 games to go?
I
see the 5 wins in those next fixtures.
I think there's a chance. I think I feel that Spurs, Everton, Southampton, certainly Everton and Southampton are very much winnable games. I think Spurs is as well, with the form that they're coming into. So that, if we were to get 9 points from that, I think 2 more wins from our remaining games seals it, if I'm honest with you. So, you've got the opportunity to go out and play with a little bit of freedom against Arsenal. I think Leeds, the way they're playing at the moment, isn't great. I think we can go there and win. We did it when we were at our worst last season. I think we've got enough to beat them. Leicester at home is again, not a banker, but it's more than winnable. You look at how many goals they gifted quite easily today. I know they'll have a bit of resurgence with the new manager in, but at St James's Park, we're a different entity.
Did you see Leicester's stats at Man City today?
They have more XG.
Yeah, they had a higher XG than Man City.
Man City. The only team this season to do it at the Etihad.
But let's be honest. It's their first game under their new manager. It's at the Etihad. I expect to rise from Leicester in that position. In Madison, some of the balls and some of the way he played today was class. I'll be honest. I love Madison.
Iheanacho was unlucky as well, to be fair.
He's been shite for 4 games.
Madison's been shite.
Anyway, moving on.
He turned up today because it's on the Sky, because he's got a new manager at the helm, and he's putting himself in the shop window. Is that something that's going to be consistent for Leicester between now and the end of the season? We'll have to wait and see. Yeah. But can we beat them at St James's Park? We did it last year. Why not do it again? I actually think we can beat Brighton at home.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Brighton, I genuinely do.
Can I do a
game of the season?
Can I do a Chris special and just do a bit of devil's advocate work here and click on what we actually said? So what we actually said was we said two. Yeah, two. We said 2 wins. We actually got 3 here, right? We said this one would be a defeat. It collectively was this what we said. The next 3 we said were going to be wins. We had these 2 down as draws. We said 2 more wins here, and this one as a draw. Just to kind of to give it a bit of reality as well, and potential drop points along the way. So we're still ahead of schedule. From what we said, we've got 9 points instead of 7.
Yeah,
you know. So we're it's not all doom and gloom, people.
Far
from it.
That's
far from it.
Nicely, like it's falling into what it could potentially be.
I just think the interesting thing with it being, lads, obviously how despondent we've been today with the ratings and the performance stuff. How would this show have went if Spurs had won or got something, or if they won today? Do you know what I mean? Even at a point when
there wouldn't have been a reaction show, Richie.
Myself and Pete to be on.
Yeah.
I think it is. It goes down next week. Next week, if we beat them, we're 6 points ahead of the game in hand on them. That's technically Spurs. It should be out. They should be out of it, especially with Man United and Liverpool and Palace and Villa as the next 4. That's a hard, tough 5 for them, really. Even Brentford.
Let's get rid of that. Look, we ran through the ratings, we ran through the walkthrough, we ran through the table, we looked at the fixtures. That is it. Let's get a few questions and wrap it up, lads. And Lisa, yes, a reminder for people to hit that like button, and if you're new, hit that subscribe button as well.
And only 69 likes. Come on, man.
I think Chris, you said there was a new member as well that appeared in the chat.
Yes, we did. We got a new member before. I noticed it. Big, massive thank you too. Was it Derek? I think it was Derek.
Derek
Platten,
is it?
Yeah.
Cheers, Derek.
Derek. Good man.
Nice one. Any comments or any questions, lads, from the chat?
I'll be honest. I tried to keep up with a little bit of comments, but I got booted out twice. So when I come back in, I couldn't access some of the comments higher up, so I lost some of them. So you guys will have more access to some of the questions of me.
Oh, actually, can we give a big shout out to Bobby? Bobby, thank you very much for the donation, mate.
At least we're not Spurs.
That's very true.
Well said, Bobby. Well said.
Liverpool. Yeah, no, I'm just looking at the ones at the start. There's not loads of.
Just a reminder. People that if you might have heard that we're playing a charity football match on the 29th of April against Newcastle Fans TV. If you would like to donate towards that, and it goes towards the Gates Ahead Food Bank, use the Just Giving link there. That's the comment is pinned in YouTube if you want to donate towards that. But yeah, so we're having that charity match coming up on the 29th of April. Just let people know about that. But anything else, lads, in the chat you want to
couple of things just to say. Yano was suggested Trippier should move to left back and bring Manquillo in on right back. What are your thoughts on that, boys?
Option.
We know Trippier can play left back. We know that.
I think I would rather have a target than Manquillo.
Saying that, Manquillo can play left back as well, can't he?
Yeah.
But also, if you get that, if let's say this was a blip today, you have Miggy and Trippier back again and back and working the way that they have done in the past. It's something you don't want to throw away.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put this on the screen 1 second, because here was the new member, Derek Platten.
Derek.
I know Derek was in the chat and he was kind of saying that we were being sort of slightly negative with regards to our ratings and stuff, but I think the performance today reflects the ratings. Now, if you look at the ratings that we give on any other week, I think it's always the one thing that we do is as a kind of a panel is give a reflection based on the game on that day, not looking at what they've done over a whole season. We literally just isolate this game, and I think some of these performances were deserved. We lost 3-0. We didn't like lace a boot on any of Villa's players. In every area of the pitch, they were better than us. So I think these these kind of ratings were well reflected. We always use 6 as a standard. That's what you start the game with, a 6. That's the standard bearer. Anything below that is below par. And I think I don't know if you guys agree. I think these boys were below par today. Now,
Yeah, they were.
what I will expect is by next Sunday, those ratings are the complete opposite, and we're looking at 7s, 8s, 9s, and maybe even a few 10s. There was a few 10s last week, weren't there?
There was.
Should I give 3 10s in one match?
Yeah, and you know these boys are going to be giving that kick up the ass.
They'll be more pissed off than anybody else tonight.
Yeah. So, and
I think the thing to sorry, Daz, to back up Pete's pieces, the thing about the 5 of us is we'll always give an opinion, and just because we've lost today, it doesn't mean that all of a sudden we don't support the team or we don't care or anything else. We have an opinion about what the players did today. We're entitled to that. We're fans. And just because you might sit today and say Botman was a 3 or Trippier was a 2, we're entitled to say that. We're entitled as fans to complain. And there's nobody in that team, nobody, including the manager, who is above criticism if something is not going right.
I think the team would agree with it, Mark. I think they'd all agree with it.
The team will know exactly how bad they play today. They don't need to talk off us.
I'm just saying, us as a 5 or fans on a whole, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on Toon Review, whether it's on Matters, people are entitled to have an opinion and be disappointed and say today was shit. Doesn't make us bad fans.
And we're allowed to judge it. Like it's not. We've had a bad day today. We've had a good season so far. We've been all of us have been supporting Newcastle 30 years plus. Look at everyone is entitled to their opinion. That is it.
Can I ask a very quick question before we go?
No.
Would you argue that Spurs at home is possibly the best fixture that we could have right now?
Absolutely.
Because for me, it's perfect. If we want this top 4 and we need a response, this is the perfect game to have.
Show that Villa was a one-off.
At home.
Go and get Europe at home in front of your fans and show them that the shit show you turned on today was a one-off anomaly. Go and show them the team. And if I was Eddie Howe, I'd have them in that analysis room, and I'd be showing them the Man United game, and I'd be showing them fucking City at home, and I'd be showing them games like that where we absolutely walked the park with teams. And I would be saying, that's what you are capable of. Go and do it. And if you want this Champions League dream and you want to be in there, go and fucking take it.
Yeah.
Because today is your time.
I'm looking forward to our reaction show next week, and we're celebrating a victory over Spurs, and we're 1 foot in that Champions League. So everyone get behind them. It was it's a blip today. We march forward together and united as we have been all season.
I think the best thing to say, Daz, is look, this is the one show we've had this season where we've all been really despondent. We did this every week pretty well. I know me and Daz did, and Pete did. There was some decided to go.
Me and Chris, to be fair.
Under the Bruce days, we were doing this like week in, week out. So look, it's hopefully it's the one time we do it this season. But
we have that in our CV, Richie. We do.
Positive is it's 8 games to go. We've only lost 4 times all season. 4 times, sitting in 3rd with possible Champions League. Fuck the sake, lads. It's a one-off. Let's go again next weekend.
Right, lads, we're bringing the show to a close. We didn't like that, but we will march forward together. How do you like that?